Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a max effort upper workout. So my max variation for this week is a band assisted bench press. So similar to last week, except I have slightly more band assistance. So last week I hit 170 kilos with a bit less band assistance. And I thought that this week, ideally, I'd hit obviously more than 170, somewhere in the range of 175 to 180. So here I decided to go for 175 kilos. It felt so heavy at unracking it. However, I managed to hit it very cleanly there. And I next went for 180, which I'd have been very happy with. However, as I tried to unrack it here, I had some difficulties unracking. It got stuck on my actual J cups and it just diminished all of my power for the press. But I didn't want to waste more energy for the session. I'm trying to be mature, unlike some bad decision making I've made earlier on in this series where I keep trying to reattempt maxes. I'd already hit 175. I was happy with that. So I decided to move straight on to the accessories. So the first one here is overhead tricep extensions with the Swiss bar, and unlike normal, I usually use the diagonal grip, so it sort of replicates more of an easy bar grip. It's a substitute for an easy bar overhead tricep extension. Instead here I was doing the neutral grip, which I'm slightly weaker on. Unlike something like pull-ups where I'm stronger, and most people are stronger with a neutral grip, with the triceps, using a neutral and closer grip made it more difficult here. So I decided to use 45 kilos, a bit lighter than normal, and I think I hit a set of 9 and sort of failed the 10th rep on the first set, and then a set of 8 and barely got the 9th rep there. Didn't manage to lock it out on the second set, but they definitely targeted the elbow in particular. Like, it felt really a lot of stress on that elbow and tricep in that bottom position in particular. It got a great stretch on the tricep and I was very happy with those. They're really going to help contribute to locking out the bench press by increasing the individual tricep strength. So next accessory here was mag grip lat pull downs with a slightly supinated grip. So I decided to go light on these at 160 pounds. I mean, this used to be about a year ago my working weight for sets of like 10, but I got a set of 20 here on the first set, and I think I only got like a set of 16 on the second set. That first set of 20 I did push hard, and I have been doing drop sets on these. So normally what I would have done is tried to hit about 15 reps and then have done extra reps with the drop set, but I'm trying not to have my accessories take up as much of my recovery capacity. So earlier in this series, I've been training really hard and pushing all my accessories to failure, and it led to huge gains in those accessories specifically, but I was then always drained for my max effort and dynamic efforts, which of course are the main thing I'm trying to improve. So I'm going slightly easier on the accessories, still sort of going to like a soft failure, but not like doing drop sets and pushing to absolute failure. So the next accessory here was chest press, or a converging chest press, and I decided to go again fairly light at 200 pounds for me. I've pushed this all the way up to like 280 pounds before, and I got, I think, a set of 20 on the first set again, and then similar, I think I only get a set of 15 or 16 on the second set. So the first sets definitely are very taxing, and that's why I normally like to use a drop set on the second set, just to make sure that I'm getting the same number of reps and to keep burning out the muscles. But like I said, I'm trying not to push to abject failure so that I'm not massively fatigued from my accessories. So overall, this week of training has been going well. Things have been moving smoother, and that was another thing I was going to say is I'm doing higher reps again to try and lower that fatigue, but also within the conjugate system I was getting a bit carried away doing quite a lot of low rep accessories. However, you are supposed to be doing like high volume. The goal of the accessories is to improve individual muscles. So like I said with the triceps, improving them will help the lockout on bench. So you try and hit each individual muscle to strengthen them so that when you put all the parts together in the bench press, it is stronger. But also you are trying to maintain high work capacity capacity, making your muscles conditioned. And the benefits of work capacity are, when it comes to competition day, if all of your muscles have great high work capacity, they can recover much better, one, in between your training sessions and in between each set of your training sessions. It should also allow you to do more volume in total in training, so that should make you stronger. But also, come competition day, you have 9 lifts to do, 3 max efforts in the squat, the bench and the deadlift, and you might only have, like, if it's a fast flight, only 5 minutes between attempts, like if there's not that many other people competing. And if you have a high work capacity in all your muscles, you'll recover much faster. You'll be able to output more each attempt, which obviously your attempts rise. You have like an opener, which should be fairly comfortable, a second lift which should be challenging, and a third lift which is ambitious / your absolute max. So that is another reason why doing higher rep on all of the accessories is beneficial, and that is the principle behind conjugate. And I got a little bit away from that when I was doing a lot of sets of like heavy 4s and 6s and 8s. So I've reintroduced that into my training now, more high rep, higher work capacity targeting work. Then the next accessory here was loo raises into side laterals. So just using those side laterals to burn the delts out a little bit more, and the delts definitely felt it after this. You might see it as it quickly skips past through there, but I was literally gripping my shoulders and had a crazy pump in them. So I was very happy with those. Then the next accessory here is alternating bicep curls, and I think I did these again, higher rep, sets of 20, which is like 10 each arm, which is still an appropriate rep range. And I'm just training the biceps to generally try and fill out the upper body to max out my frame with muscle. It also does help from a slight leverage point of view within the bench press, like having larger biceps and forearms. If you take a narrow grip like I do, they can sort of push off each other. Similar to having large hamstrings and calves in a squat, they can compress against each other and improve you bouncing out the hole on a squat. Big biceps and forearms can help your bench in a similar way. And also, it helps for stabilization within the bench, does having good biceps, strong biceps. The only time I've ever strained my biceps has never actually been from doing like bicep curls or anything. It has been from benching, where a lot of you will have experienced that as well, where you get tenderness down your bicep tendon over your elbow, sort of going down into your forearm, and just training the biceps can help make them more robust and able to handle that benching, and it means that you're not going to get sore, so it shouldn't affect other training. So for me, it particularly will affect my dynamic effort. If I get sore after a max effort, I'm not going to be fast and snappy when I'm in pain. So that's another reason that I train biceps. And then to end off, I'm training abs, and I decided to do an isometric here. So I've done these isometric holds before on the GHD, but this time I decided to do them weighted. Now, I was a bit ambitious and immediately went to 25 kilos weighted. It wasn't actually a particularly bad choice of weight for me. I was still able to get at least 30 seconds on each set, which is what my aim was. And the reason that I like these isometric holds rather than doing something like crunches, they're great for building up your abs and building up your ab wall, which is still going to be good. It's still going to give you a strong core, and that's going to translate to all of your lifts, your bench, your squat, your deadlift within powerlifting. But doing isometrics in particular is going to be useful, because the main utilization of our abs within powerlifting is to brace. So in this position, this isometric hold, it is one, really uncomfortable, so I'm sort of having to brace to stay there anyway. I'm also training my breathing, my ability to breathe and feel good under a long time bracing. So that could be great if I have like an awkward squat unrack, or like I had earlier in the video, an awkward bench unrack. Maintaining tightness within the core and making sure that that is not a failing point is going to be great. So doing long, heavy isometrics are particularly useful when trying to train your abs for powerlifting. Obviously, if you're doing other sports, if you're doing things like calisthenics, your abs might actually need to be trained through a range of motion, because some of the movements you're going to do are going to have your abs moving. But for powerlifting, we're just wanting to make our core one big solid block. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff, and have a great day.